What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened. We are going through our hero introductions and doing some tips and tricks. This is the second Huntress video, so we're going to be focusing pretty heavily on the Huntress and the Monk. Now, with that in mind, we really want to focus on synergies. Now, as you progress through the game, there's going to be more and more enemy types added into the game. However, when you first get started, there's basically going to be two different enemy types that you need to be concerned with. Number one would be fodder enemies. Fodder enemies are the little guys, the goblins, the orcs, just the masses that are going to roll down the lane. Having some sort of area of effect damage, like, say, a Huntress explosive trap, is going to readily handle these types of enemies. However, these types of defenses do smaller amounts of damage to an entire area, meaning if an ogre or a tougher enemy comes down the lane, you're going to want some kind of single target in there to handle things. So having a good mix of area of effect defenses and single target defenses are going to be your keys to success early game in Dungeon Defenders Awakened. Now let's hop on into our next map in this series, and that is the Arcane Library. Let's get it going here. This particular map, in my opinion, is one of the prettiest remakes from Dungeon Defenders 1. This map, I believe, was actually in Dungeon Defenders Eternity, maybe? And then was brought into Dungeon Defenders 1 by the community development team. However, I think that they did a glorious job remaking this map, as it just looks beautiful. Lots of lanes, two different cores, lots of different routes in, and a super fun map to play. Now let's see, what are we going to start off with? We've got 500 mana to get things going. Let's go ahead and make sure our squire is squared away. Taking a look at our squire stuff. Everything's dumped into fort as we're just using walls. Let's go ahead and put walls up throughout, really. Let's go with a wall there. Let's go with a wall here. And then we'll see kind of what we have left over afterwards. We can protect this core by going like a wall there. We can get one down there. Go with something like right here. That actually leaves a nice bit for a little bit of damage in there. Now, we are going to be focusing on the Huntress traps quite a bit on this one, and I do want to use some crowd control and some damaging effects. So, as we discussed in the last video, the poison gas trap can just be an absolute complete breadwinner, particularly in your early experience. You always want to make sure you're placing your damaging trap where it is inside of the effective range of your gas trap. So, not something you ever want to stack right on top of each other. You want to make sure you've got these spread out just a little bit where you can see the area of effect. You see that outer perimeter on the gas trap allows us to get proper placement of our explosive trap. We're not going to be able to do this all the way around the map, I don't believe, but let's get as much as we can trapped up here. We'll be able to get something in right over here as well. Let's go with like our poison trap there, and then we can get our explosive trap in where the trigger radius, of course, is right there. And then what can we do over here? Well, over on this lane, all we can really afford to get things started is our explosive trap. So let's go ahead and go with that, and we'll let it fly here. Now, the struggle early game here with traps and aura builds is no doubt the charges. The Fortify stat is going to affect the number of charges you have on traps and auras, and you're going to have to keep an eye on that early game. Now, this is something you don't have to think about quite as much later game. However, while you're early game, this is definitely kind of a big deal. I think on this lane, we're just going to go with a Splody. And then that is going to leave 71 left. Let's go ahead and get some auras in the mix. And the ultimate crowd control synergy in Dungeon Defenders Awaken is without a doubt an Ensnare Aura and a Gas Trap. So let's go ahead and get Ensnare Auras all the way around. kind of overkilling it on CC here, as we really are not going to need quite this much. But it will allow you all to understand exactly what we got going. So we've got a slow and a stun, which is just the power combo. Here we can split lanes a little bit, looking quite nice. Now, we've got some area effect damage in now. We want to get a little bit of single target in. So for the Huntress, we've got the Poison Dart Tower. Let's go ahead and get a Poison Dart Tower there. We'll get another Poison Dart Tower kind of slightly angled over this way. And then let's do the same thing everywhere we can. These are 80 a pop, so we're not going to be able to get every lane covered here. But we will be able to get the bulk of the lanes down. Let's see. Let's get one like right there. We can actually kind of double dip in these areas on a buff beam, which we'll be adding in later. We don't have any more juice, so let's just go ahead and let it fly here. Now, the buff beams, of course, are going to take these up to the next level. See if we can't get a little upfront work in on this ogre before he hits the Poison Dart Trap. Oh, yeah. Or Poison Dart Tower, pardon me. Not a trap at all. We're getting some nice damage in here now. I don't have an ideal weapon for my Huntress here, yet I did upgrade about halfway this particular weapon. So you see, we're actually not even halfway. We're 8 of 20. We do have that Inspired Assault set bonus, and we're getting some ability on our offhand, and we're getting some attack on our main hand. So we do have some damaging stats added in to help out the hero damage as well. And let's see. Let's go ahead and finish out this area. And we'll go with a Poison Dart Tower, say, like this. And then we'll get a buff beam in to buff all of this stuff. And then what else do we want to do? We've got 21 left. I mean, kind of the no-brainer thought is buff beams everywhere. Now, I am using the Overdrive rune. So, the Overdrive rune, you see, Overclock Beam gives towers 50% more damage. This effect is reduced by 13% for each additional defense the Overclock Beam buffs. Now, with that in mind, you never want to have more than 4 defenses on one single buff beam. Now, the buff beams are smart. They will take out, like, ensnare auras or gas traps that are on it. That way you don't have to worry about those affecting that particular rune negatively. However, it is quite a powerful rune, and arguably the strongest rune in the entire game. Just super, super powerful. So, completing our full-on Synergy run in, let's go ahead and get some Reflect Beams in. That will give us some proper protection versus the range mobs. We definitely want one in right here, and then that's going to give us a little bit of DU left. We can decide what we want to do with that. Let's see, these side lanes, they get a little bit of protection automatically from that. But let's see. Let's go with one here, because I have seen a ranged mob shoot at the core from right here. So let's go with one there. That's going to leave us 10 left. And I think no better use of the 10 than getting some Strength Drain Auras in. You see that Explosive Trap there is taking a little bit of damage. So I do want to repair that up. Let's go ahead and get a Strength Drain Aura in here. And then we know that we saw the Ogre coming out over here last time. So this is definitely an Ogre lane. Meaning, let's get a Strength Drain Aura in here as well. If an Ogre gets to the wall, of course, they're going to be doing reduced damage to our wall, and that is just good stuff. Let's see, let's start upgrading these explosive traps, just to make sure we have plenty of charges. I'm not sure if anything is actually going to push in all the way to those gas traps. However, I did want to get those down, just to kind of give that example of what the gas trap, explosive trap stack should look like. We do have 2... DU left. With the 2, you know, I guess we could throw some reflects in on the side lanes too. I'm not sure it's going to be really needed. But we will get it in because we do want to spend all of our available DU, of course, to get that XP bonus. Oh, that ogre got slapped. I didn't even see it coming out. Looks like the wall took no damage. So we've got a nice setup here. The explosive trap put in some damage. The strength drain aura would have done its thing if that ogre got a little closer. But we also had 2 poison dart towers slamming into it, and those are handling those single target defenses. Now, as you progress through the game, you're going to find that you want to fine-tune exactly what your defenses are hitting. And there is tower target priorities in the game. I think I went over it briefly before. In this particular situation, we've got our explosive traps, which are going to handle the fodder type enemies. So we would want our poison dart towers hitting the healthier or stronger enemies that have the bigger health pool. As soon as we burn these last 40 down, we will take a look at it here. Adrenaline rush for the win. It is just good stuff on the Huntress. Get that increased jump height, and that super rapid fire allows you just to wreck it. Alright, so let's see. We've got 2 DU left. We do want to spend it. So let's just do that. Even though I don't feel like we really need it, let's go ahead and get a reflect beam over here. And we'll get a reflect beam here as well. So that will round out the DU. Now, what do we want to do next? Well, we've got plenty of upgrade mana in, so I feel like the upgrade mana is probably the obvious choice. Now, with tower targeting that I was talking about, let's take a look at our Huntress here. If we go to your spell book and go down and click on the tower itself, the poison dart tower, currently you see it's set to fodder targeting. We actually want that on strong. Now the poison dart tower is going to prioritize the healthiest enemies on the lane. So any enemies that have, the most amount of maximum HP, that is the enemy that that tower will prioritize. Let's see, what else can we get going? I think we're good on the ensnare, even though we are losing a little bit. Let's get some upgrades here on our poison dart towers to get a little more range. We can get one on that buff beam too, since it's hitting so many defenses. And then let's just let it fly again for wave number 4. Now you see we had an ogre come out right away. Let's take a look at how this ogre fares versus the poison dart towers. Because they all should just be slamming directly into it. Oh yeah, that ogre just got slapped. So good stuff there. Single target and AoE combined is the ultimate synergy in the game, without a doubt. Now, you take that a step or two further and you add in crowd control with your slows and your stuns, and then you add in damage resistance or damage reduction and attack speed reductions through like the ensnare aura. And you get yourself a really powerhouse combo of a build by just making sure you're covering kind of all of the base aspects of the game. Now, I really feel like I'm at a point here where I could probably just watch the mini-map, or the attack map, pardon me, and go to any areas that have issues, or it looks like it's going to have an issue. So we've got just a solid, well-rounded build out there to cover everything in the lanes. Let's just go on trap and aura repair duty. Now, if you're wondering how I'm repairing these traps when I'm not actually targeting anything, is because I'm using the smart repair and smart upgrade system. Now, the smart upgrade system is designed for end-game play. So once you get leveled up enough where you can maximize towers, however, the smart repair system, all you have to do is target near your defenses, and it will automatically shift to the defense within range that needs to be repaired. This is something that is in the gameplay options and something you're going to want to turn on and turn off. Let's see if we can't find it here. Here we go. Smart repair and then smart upgrade. Early game, I would even debate on turning smart upgrade mode off, as it can get kind of stuck on defenses prior to you being able to upgrade anything all the way. But the smart repair system is just kind of a no-brainer. It just works great. And like I said, it will cycle through everything naturally. So don't go and directly target anything with your repair. Like, don't go directly to the explosive trap. Just go next to all of your defenses, and it will cycle through anything that needs that repair automatically. So good stuff there with that smart upgrade and repair system. Let's go ahead and let it fly again. We see there was another green item there. Go ahead and put some paint in on this ogre. Dark Fang Darla. Dark Fang Darla is just getting slapped. We got massive poison damage out there, and I'm using a poison weapon. I do have the physical damage from that explosive trap, but that's also something that is just a red flag early on. You never want to have all of the same element going. Right now we've got poison damage with the poison dart towers. We got poison damage with my weapon. And then the ensnare aura and the gas trap are both poison as well. Now those are not, you know, they don't do damage, so you're not getting negative effects from there. But if we didn't have the explosive traps in, we would have nothing at all in play to negate any sort of elemental resistances. Oh yeah, Sheik got wrecked there. About halfway through, and I think this map is going to be GG's. Oops, something over here took a bunch of damage. What was it? Oh, it was just our traps and auras. So once again, smart upgrade and repair. Let's just cycle through everything, get everything all good and juiced up. We can do the same thing on every one of the lanes here. Pretty low there, too. Like I said, the earlier you are in game, the more you really do have to focus on the amount of trap and aura charges if you're using heavy trap and aura builds. As you get later in the game, you get so much Fortify stat that you don't really have to pay as much attention to it. You know, certain builds, of course, you're still going to have to be on the lookout for that. However, we got the W here in the Arcane Library, and we're starting to get quite a few green drops. Now, with that in mind, with all this green stuff dropping, it would be a good time to go back into our loot filter and then remove the lower quality stuff. So we no longer really need to be auto-looting common gear. Additionally, with weapons, we no longer need to be looting the common gear. Oop. Actually, we're getting all weapons now. Let's go ahead and select everything except common. That way the gray stuff just auto-sells. Make sure to apply it, and we should be good to go for the future here. But that will do it for this episode. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.